Yes. Hi folks, it's the 11th of July, Thursday 11th of July. I had my first experience of eating one of these just recently. My good friend Carl Leitzel, local painter here, local painter and signwriter I should say, he introduced me to eating the daylily buds. It wasn't bad actually. I mean, you know, apparently you can fry them up with spices and things, they're quite nice. And then over here I have this is an elderberry. Looks like it's got the Japanese beetles. They seem to be in town at the moment. I always remember my mother used to make from the heads, the flower heads of the elderberry, well, the elder flowers, a nice cordial drink. I don't know, but the ones over here in the States, they just don't smell the same as the ones that we have in England. Ones in England that we have are much more aromatic. These ones just don't have the same kind of smell. Anyway, just thought I'd show you that. I was kind of like waiting for the sun to peep round the clouds. I wanted to show you some of the results of the latest firing that I had out of the small kiln, and I got them on the table here, bar one or two which got sold. So I just thought I'd bring you in on that and talk about these here. As always, if anybody's interested in any of these, give me a shout, get the timestamp from the video. And Tankards, for the most part, came out pretty well. Celadon tankard. That one. This one, not quite so good. Not quite so good, the iron on that one, but not terrible. La la la. Yes, after that I just want to tell you, talk to you a bit about the kiln. I've decided that what I'm going to do is I'm going to take down the chimney and rebuild it. It needs to be just a fraction bigger. I've done everything I can to try to improve the temperature rise and still get reduction. I'm still getting cone 10, but it's, you know, I'm having to really fight for those last degrees. So I've come to the conclusion that it's because the chimney is too small. This one here this one I got don't know if you can see it, I got a little crack there. Just there. Just on the edge. It's funny, when I went to pick it up from the shelf where it was, I picked it up just like that, and as I picked it up, I heard it, I felt it just crack in my hand. I just felt it give. So yeah, that's the second. Sell that one off. These are the iron slit with sgraffito, the same batch you saw me do the other day. So yeah, they came out as expected. So that's good. Yep. Let's have a sip of tea. Here's a lonely bud vase. You saw me actually. I was dealing with this one. I was rubbing it over. I said it had little flecks. You might be able to just see the flecks under the glaze there. But I applied the glaze a little bit on the thick side. However, I don't altogether dislike it, you know, just because it didn't come out just as I want. It's growing on me actually more and more, this little one. A bit of milky glaze on the inside. So I quite like them when the glaze stops about here and you have a little bit of naked clay there just at the base. I think it can look quite nice. Alright, series of tea bowls. Let's start with this one. This one. Now this one, you will recall, I was in Temuku and then I dipped it up to here in my milky glaze. I was kind of half expecting this to happen, that the Temuku underneath would overpower the milky glaze that was on the surface. Remember, and I sprinkled a little bit of that rust in it. Goodness knows where the rust has gone. I was completely blown away. I don't know where that disappeared to, the rust. But anyway, so there you see it. And because of the added thickness, I got a little bit of crawling, as you can see there, just on the lip. I'm going to be doing a video to show you actually, because I've got a lot of tea bowls that have just not quite hit the mark. You could say this one hasn't hit the mark. You know, on the other hand, somebody might see that and think, that's great, I don't mind it, I like it just as it is, you know. So what is the mark for you might not be the mark for somebody else, you know. So, but what I want to do is I want to separate all out the ones that I feel didn't quite make it, and I'm going to have a sale of tea bowls. They're all going to be knocked down. Usually my tea bowls are like $48. I'm going to be selling them off at like 30 bucks. So look out for that if that interests you. Let's have a look at this one. This was that paddled. He's quite nice in his way, isn't he? With a butter paddle. That is done with the butter paddle. Milky glaze with a cobalt. Yeah, if anybody's interested in these, grab a timestamp off the video, send it to me, we'll see what we can do for you. Now we had my good friend Mike from North Carolina who stopped by with that ilmenite, and here's one of his. That was from a previous batch that just didn't get into the kiln at the time. And then I did another one with the other ilmenite which I had. This actually had a couple of lines banded top and bottom, and the ilmenite caused it, well, not just the heat of the kiln actually, the whole line dropped down rather. But it came out quite interesting. The ilmenite over the Temuku can be quite interesting. My father used to use it quite a lot with some bigger pieces in Temuku, which he used to decorate with ilmenite in that manner. As always, it's always a case of getting the thickness of the pigment correct. Too much pigment and you get a little bit of, it doesn't quite melt properly, you know. Let's have a look at this picture here. This is a little picture. You saw me make this. He's quite handsome, isn't he? With the impressed and with a knuckled around the foot there. This is the glaze with the ash and the red clay. Now this one I did drop a little bit of iron rust, and you can see that rust just there on the top, more so there on the top of the handle. The little rust splotches. It's nice, isn't it, to be able to use local ingredients. What I want to do is dig down right where I'm standing here, because I know there's clay just under the ground here, and I want to use that clay to mix with wood ash and make my own glaze. And then I'm not having to go anywhere for my glaze, you know. I'm just sourcing it right here at home. Way to go! Here's another picture. Quite a nice little number. Just decided just to dip him down only certain just down to there, and then leave the bottom unglazed, a stripy decoration. Yeah, someone's going to have that one. Someone's going to like that one. Save me the picture, Simon. Okay, here let's look at. This was shellac. Shellac. I did a shellac. I did speak about it, when I was in the previous video, if you recall. So where the shellac is, of course, it acts in a similar way to like wax does, and I just lightly just wiped it over. Yeah, I'm going to do more of those. I quite like the contrast between the Temuku and just the bare clay. What do you think? Does that do it for you or not? Yeah. I got 3 of these. I'll quickly show them to you. These were the paddled tea bowls that you recall I said just give them a little bit of a rub over, just where lightly, to bring out the high spots, you see, so it can break to brown. Now you've actually seen me make these and trim them and glaze them, and now you see me them fired. There's that one. There's another one. This one not come out quite, not broken quite as much over the pattern, but still quite nice. One more of those. I'm here under the willow tree, so I'm getting a little bit of shadow from the willow tree, but it's where the table is. So. They're quite nice. That's come out quite well. I mean, that is classic Temuku, isn't it? A little tiny crawl just there, but no biggie. Doesn't bother me. We've got to get away from seeing something that is a technical flaw, like a crawl, as being immediately, you know, we seem to think, oh, that's a negative, you know, it's not perfect. It hasn't come out just like, you know, like it came out of a factory, you know, absolutely perfect. You know, it's got its little character thingies, you know, and it's just seeing things in a different light, isn't it? Not just seeing them from the perspective of they've got to be technically, can be technically perfect, but you know, aesthetically dull and not very interesting. Something to think about, maybe. And lastly, I can't remember if you actually saw me decorate this one or some other ones similar. Again with the blue wash and the iron over the top, sort of giving the impression of foliage. Could be like this willow tree here, something like that, you know. Yeah. Bamboo. Dee 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 dee. Yeah, quite nice. That's it, folks. That is the firing. Let's go. Let's just take the camera off the tripod here a sec. Let's just go into the the sun has come out. Hey, hey, hey. Let's just go into the kiln room here. I just want to just briefly tell you what I think needs to happen to the kiln. So yeah, so basically this chimney flue here, I am highly suspicious I'm not getting enough free flow gas flow through the kiln. So basically this, where it's situated here, I need to step it back a bit towards me over here. Maybe just about 1/4 of an inch. That will be sufficient, I am sure. Just to widen this slot, just widen it, and that'll mean just pulling it back just a small amount. Being that it's quite a long run across there, even just 1/8 of an inch would probably make quite a bit of difference to the flow of reduced gases through the kiln chamber. I did take note of the fact that as I was firing it, and I got the amount of reduction that I was wanting, but the temperature was sort of stalling, hanging there. But then when I reached down here and pulled that out like that, immediately the reduction became less and the temperature went up. So it liked the fact that I pulled that out. So basically, by doing what I'm going to do here, by widening this a little bit, it's going to be effectively the same as taking that fellow out. So let's see what we can do. I've got to carefully see if I can separate this here and then relocate it. I'll have to mix up some more of that cement. Anyway folks, thanks for joining us here. Sunny evening, or looking sunny, 11th of July 2019. Keep practicing. Go to my website, simonleachpottery.com. If you want to come on a workshop, I've got workshop dates there. I've got August is looking very empty at the minute. I've got 2 workshops, and I think I've got 1 person on one workshop and 1 person on another. So if August is looking possibly interesting to you, or you're umming and ahhing about coming on a workshop, please get in touch, because I could do with filling up those workshops, or they will be cancelled. If you want a Leach treadle wheel, let me know. Write to me. That's about it, I think. Lovely evening shadows just to close as we round off here. Very nice. Alright folks, take care. Talk to you soon. Bye bye.